Wow, it is a beautiful day out here today. The only thing that could make this any better would be if it rained. Hey, it's Richard here at Circle P Farms. I don't know how well the camera is going to show the grass in this pasture, but hopefully it does show that this is some nice, lush, green looking pasture. Looks like there's plenty of forage out here for the sheep, but there's a problem with it. I've got the ram lambs running out here, and I'm trying to get the best weight gain on them that I can. So I've been kind of letting them selectively graze what they want, and that has caused an issue. I've got a lot of nimble-wheel in this field, and the sheep don't particularly like the nimble-wheel. They will eat it, but they don't particularly like it. So what has happened, they have grazed spots like this. This is just a small one, but there are spots all over this pasture that they have just grazed almost to nothing. Whereas over here, where the nimble wheel is thick, they haven't really grazed it at all. I haven't kept real close track, but I would say we're getting close to 6 weeks with not much rain at all. We've had a couple of little showers. We got one decent rain about 2 weeks ago, but my pastures are shot. This is what I'm dealing with. The only thing out here that's thriving at all is the nimble wheel. So for right now, these girls are pretty much out of anything to eat. Now this field they're on, this little lot right here you see them on, that's where I had some pearl millet in there through the summer. And of course this time of year it's played out. I did run a bush hog over it just to knock the stems down. They go around and pick a little here and there. They do have some grass out in the other field, but it's getting pretty thin too. Now I've got another pasture I can move these girls to that has more grass in it, but as dry as it is, it's not really growing either. Now one way to battle this nimble wheel, at least what I'm going to try, I've already been feeding the ewes hay for a week, so it's time for them to get on something else and save some of my hay. I'm going to stock them really heavy out here on this nimble wheel and the hog weeds and things like that, and see what they will do to clean that up. Maybe they'll nip the tops off enough it'll kind of keep it from going to seed anyhow. Now I'm going to stock these ewes at about probably 50,000 pounds per acre. So let's get the fence set up and get things going. See what these ewes can do tearing up this nimble wheel. Well, we've got one of them trying to clean up the hogweed, and one of them over there trying to clean up the ragweed. This might work out pretty well. Well, good morning, girls. Let's see what kind of damage you did. Well, it's the next morning, and what I would like to have done is give these girls 24 hours to clean this up. But it's been about 20 hours, and I've got to go in and get ready for church. So they're going to get moved before the full 24 hours. But I really don't think that other 4 hours is going to make much difference. As you can see, they really have not eaten the nimble wheel, the foxtail. I didn't expect them to eat that stuff real well, but I thought they might eat it better than that. Ideally, they'd ate the nimble wheel down to the point they kill it out, but that's not going to happen. So girls, let's just move you over to the next section, see what you do with that. Now you probably can't tell it. They did eat the tops off of some of this nimblewheel, but not much. I mean, there's a lot of green vegetation there. I am going to go ahead and take this back fence down so they can get back on the part they have been on. That's probably not the best for making them clean things up, but I don't have to move their water, and this is just kind of a little experiment here to see how this goes anyway. So they are eating some of it. So I'll watch this ewe eat. She is eating the tops off of this nimble wheel. She won't eat it down very short, but she's eating the tops off of it. At the very least, maybe she's eating the tops off and she's going to keep this from going to seed. But it's really got me rethinking my whole rotational grazing approach. Learn something from you girls all the time. Well, it's been 48 hours since I started this, and I don't know how much the camera is really going to show, but the sheep had about 20 hours from this T-post to the one over there. They had about 20 hours on that part. I took the back fence down. They've had 24 hours on the other part. So I guess it hasn't been quite 48 hours, but 44 hours. And if you look out through here, it looks like there's still quite a bit of vegetation out here. And there is, really. Whoa. But it is stuff they just do not want to eat. Now I can tell a difference if you look right down this fence line. Now they've nipped the tops off the nimble wheel on this side. The nimble wheel on this side, of course, they haven't. So you can tell there's probably a 3-inch difference in the height there. You girls ready to move to another section? They have done a lot of trampling. I wasn't really as concerned about the trampling as I was trying to see how much hurt would they put on this nimble wheel. And although they did some, they did not do what I had hoped they would. So let's take this back fence down, let them have the other part of this paddock for a day, and probably tomorrow I'm just going to have to move them to the other pasture where I was hoping to stockpile some fescue. But with no rain, that's just not happening. All right, girls, let's get you moved. Okay.
Papa, I'm on the outside. Okay. So now these sheep have more grass, and now they have more grass than they had in this field.
Well, in conclusion here, my 3-day experiment on drastically increasing my stocking rate, I went to about a 50,000 pound per acre of live weight. I did more strip graze it than I did actual individual paddocks, but I could tell what they were and were not going to eat. But what I found out is that they will eat the nimble wheel tops, the tender stuff on the top. They will eat that. That's kind of their last choice, but they will eat it. The other thing I found out, which surprised me a little bit, is they just didn't hardly touch the foxtail at all. I knew they weren't going to do much to it. They weren't going to eat the stems and the seed heads and things like that. But I did think that at that stocking density, they would strip some of those leaves off down in there, and they really didn't. The fescue, the bluegrass, they hit it really hard. Now, one thing that did surprise me that I wasn't expecting is the barnyard grass. They hit that stuff pretty hard. Now, this has been mowed over, several weeks ago, But even the old tough stuff, they worked on that down to the ground just about. So I may be able to use a higher stocking density in places to help get the barnyard grass under control. And when I say barnyard grass, let me get a shot of it. This is what I'm talking about. It looks a little bit like a crabgrass as far as the seed head goes, but it's not crabgrass. This stuff will grow where nothing else wants to grow. I knew they would eat on that when it was young and tender, but once it gets a couple of weeks old and starts to toughen up, they really didn't want much to do with it. But at that higher stocking density, they took it down to just about nothing. This right in here, this is just all barnyard grass. It looked like this when I put them in there. So although I didn't get the results I wanted from the grazing, I did get some good information. And it's going to save me a little bit of money because I had harvested some of this nimblewheel, and the intent was to send it off and have it analyzed and just see what the nutrient content of that is, because I can't find any resources that list a nutrient content for nimblewheel. So I was going to pay the money and find out, but since they really don't eat it, I guess it really doesn't make any difference, so heck with that. Well, and as always, I appreciate you joining me on the video. Maybe you got some information out of this too that will help you, and we'll continue on with the journey of this nimblewheel. See you on the next video.